Hi there, I'm Tia. This is Dorset.Threads. Welcome to my sewing room. Welcome to all. If you're a regular watcher or you're new and you've just found me, this is my Friday Sews video. So what have I been up to this week? So I've had a much quieter week this week. Got plenty of sewing done and it's been a good week for getting things completed. So to start with, I'll just give you a quick rundown of what I'm wearing. This was quite a recent make, I think March I made it. It's a chalk and notch fringe dress in the lovely Lady McElroy viscose, I think it's called Evening Roost. It's a lovely teal colour. I'll give you a look in a minute. So I make the cutout version rather than the buttons. Gives you a little bit of gathering at the waist. You can pull it in with the waist ties and yeah, you're good to go. So let me give you a look at what I'm wearing today. Yeah, so it's quite flowy, cinching slightly at the waist with gathering, with a waist tie. Got a nice little cutout here. I'm not a fan of a high neck, so this is ideal for me. Nice loose little sleeves here, and I've got my pockets in. So yeah, I wear these dresses quite a lot. I've got quite a few on repeat that I like to wear. I'll put up a video so you can just see the length that I prefer. So as I mentioned, it's been a bit quiet this week, so I've had plenty of time in my sewing room. But let's start at the beginning of the week, and for me that was Saturday. So on Saturday I went along to my usual Sew Time social, which is based in Loxheath, Southampton. I go regularly every month. Lovely little group. Usual, friends that go there, and it was fantastic. And I took along the Lazo jumpsuit that I'd recently cut out of the Beyond the Pink Door subscription box fabric. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, then yeah, it's a previous video where I did an unboxing for the subscription box, and it had this fabulous nebula space pattern on it, so you can see variations there of the blues and the creamy and white and pink and greens. Quite a mishmash. It made a space scene, and I and ahed about what to make, but because I'd already had it in my plans that I wanted to make the Lazo jumpsuit by Helen's Closet Patterns, I thought, yeah, I'm going to go with that, and I thought it might work out quite well. I had 2.5 meters was generally enough for me to make something, and I knew I wouldn't really have to pattern match, and I wasn't sure if it was directional. When I did have a look, there was some large floral design in the very sort of recesses of the pattern, so there was a basic up and down, but nothing that would really matter too much. So this is the Lazo jumpsuit here from the line drawings. Obviously there's a short version and then the long version, which if you look on here is cropped, but for me I thought I'd probably make it full length because I've got very short legs and cropped is just not such a good look on me, especially when the hem is so wide. So that's what I was going to go for. In my previous vlog I showed you the toile that I'd made, and it sort of gave me an indication of what size I want to make. There is a fair amount of wearing ease in the pattern. The sizing for the pattern is a B and a D cup, and it goes from a 31-inch bust to a 62-inch bust, a waist of 24 inches to 52 inches, and then the hips of 33 to 62 inches. And with the wearing ease, there's quite a substantial amount there that you could probably size down. So I made a straight size 14 when I did the toile, and I just thought it's a bit too roomy for me. So I thought what I will do is I will stick with the size 14 at the top, grade to a 12, and then make the bottoms a 12 and go from there. The seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch, so you do have quite a bit of wriggle room if it is going to be a bit snug from going down a size, but I was fairly confident that this wouldn't be an issue. So firstly, cutting out the pattern, I laid my lovely fabric out, as I said, from Beyond the Pink Door subscription box, and I thought it was going to be a bit tight. I'd taken 2 inches off the length of the legs initially, thinking, well, I'll probably have to nibble a bit more off, but I wanted to have a decent hem, so it was a bit tight. As a matter of fact, by the end of it, I'd taken another 2 inches off, so those pattern pieces for me will fit well within the 2.5 meters of fabric. So for my next iteration. I know that I will be getting out of that. So I took all the pieces to my social. My friend was also making up a Lazo, and she was going to hack it to have some sleeves on it, some short sleeves, and I thought that was a really good idea. And actually I've seen it since she sent me a picture and it looks fantastic, so it's something I'm going to try again when I make it. So I began making it up, and I have to say I did follow the instructions, but I didn't do the steps in the order that they suggested. Mainly because I was just trying to leave the tricky bit, which was to me the binding, till as long as possible to the end. While I was sat chatting, I didn't want to have to concentrate too much. It worked out fine, but I would say that putting the binding on the armhole sleeves would be much better doing it when the pattern suggests, because you haven't got so much fabric to maneuver. So let me just put in a little clip of me wearing the finished article. I went out yesterday and took some footage. The weather here is a bit hit and miss. They keep predicting thundery showers, so while it was bright and sunny, I took myself off, and I've hopefully caught how loose and fit and flowy and, you know, comfy it is for you. As you can see, the legs are very wide, and that's me being out of my comfort zone wearing something like that, but I think it looks pretty good. Although sometimes I feel like I might be an extra in ABBA because of the jumpsuit, you know, flowy type feel, but I do like it, and it is so super comfy. Like I say, they predict thundery showers and it's super muggy, and just with the pulled in waist with the drawstring, yeah, it's really comfortable to wear. So a couple of thoughts about the jumpsuit. Let me just show you some of the things that I did. So instead of, as the pattern suggests, making up the bias binding from the fabric, I actually used Specky Seamstress binding, and I used this this Planets and Space Planets. I used this Space Planets bias binding, and actually a 2-meter pack did the neckline and both armholes. So again, future reference, just one pack will suit it just fine. I put in a little label, I'm not sure you can see, it just says 2025 on it. I thought that would be quite sweet. So yeah, as I say, I've got the binding around the front neckline and also the armholes. And as I say, manipulating all of this fabric when doing the armholes was definitely not the one, and that would have been a lot easier with just the bodice doing that. So I would definitely do it in the right steps sequence for next time. Something I was a bit unsure about is this front crotch seam. So you follow the instructions, you do all the bodice, and you know, you do the bottom half, but you don't do the front center front seam. You attach it at the waist, so you've got the bodice and the bottom half joined. You do the drawstring casing. That all went absolutely swimmingly. That all went really well. And then you have this front facing that you're going to obviously put buttons, or you could put snap fasteners along, and you fold it back. And obviously this has got interfacing in it to give it a little bit of stability. And it creates this this point here, if you see, at the front to enclose it. But when it comes to doing the crotch seam, you begin joining the crotch from that point. And to me, that's a bit of a weak point. I don't know if that's a regular thing that you do in jumpsuits. It's new to me. I really don't know. Maybe I need more practice on doing that. But I just felt that wasn't my best bit of sewing. The pattern does have you, after doing the front facing here, to sew a bar tack along this edge to give a bit more strength, because obviously when you're pulling it on and off, that is going to be the weak point. But I think for next time, when I make this, before I make it up, I think I will overlock the crotch seam, where the crotch seam is going to be on the pieces, so that I know that those edges are, you know, fully enclosed and prevent any fraying, because it gives you this sort of weak point where the V facing is and where the crotch starts. And obviously if this part is all overlocked, then you don't have some rogue fraying just there. A point on fraying, this fabric is lovely, but it did fray quite a fair amount. Although there's so much manipulation in the pattern to sew it up, it's probably the manoeuvring about that has added to it. I'm really glad that I did follow the instructions and did the stay stitching along the neckline and armholes, which, you know, sometimes you think, oh yeah, I'll just ignore that bit. But because of this, all the manipulation throughout the pattern, I think that is very much needed, because the last thing you want to do is make up the whole entire pattern, and then when it comes to it, this part is stretched out, because obviously then you have, you know, gaping and whatnot. I didn't have any gaping, so I'm really pleased with one, doing the stay stitching, and two, I seem to have you know, chosen the right size to do. So in regards to size, I think I did pretty well. I was and ahhing about the bottom half, and did I need to take any out of the rise, which I had done you know, for other trousers that I've made. But the thing is, you need to be able to take your shoulders off to get in and out of the jumpsuit, you know, to go to the bathroom, to put it on and off and everything. And if I took any more out of the rise, I think I would struggle to do that. So I think I will stick with the rise as it is, and I won't change that. Other thoughts, the pockets are huge, which is fantastic. Again, on my shortened legs, if you've got a large pocket, that's going to come much further down the leg. So something that might be mid-thigh is going to be lower thigh for me. And I think what I might do is slightly shorten the pocket, or even just put a row of stitching across it to sort of negate the bottom half, to try it out, because then if I don't like it, I can just whip those stitches out. Because I found that if I put my glasses in my pocket, or a tissue or something, when I came to grab the item out of my pocket, I felt like I was groping around my knee. Knee pockets are not good, unless they're designed to be cargo pant type pockets. So yeah, if you've got shorter legs, obviously a large pocket is going to become very large. So I might do that. So just to highlight that, I have cut out a pair of Arden pants that are the same as the white linen ones that I recently made. I'm going to make a denim-y version. This is you know, inexpensive fabric I got from Rainbow Fabrics, and with the you know, the discounts or the offers that they, you know, always throw up, I managed to get 2 meters of this lovely fabric. It's not coming up very blue. What's it called? Lapis blue marl cotton linen denim, and it's not stiff at all. It's really nice, and with the discount, it just worked out like £7.50 a metre, which is pretty good. So this is kind of the same setup as the Lazo jumpsuit, and you see the size of that pocket, and this is obviously where it joins the side trousers. So that's a significant pocket, and if I just show you against this dress, can't even fit it in the screen. So yeah, so if this is attached here, actually I've got a big pocket hanging down, and on the Lazo jumpsuit, because it's so relaxed, it's more sort of here. And yeah, I just found that my items sunk to the bottom of the pocket, so that's an easy fix. Like I said, I can just put some stitching across to sort of just make it shorter, or I can you know, or I can actually cut it to make it smaller, but it is something I would consider doing next time, but it's not a major deal. So yeah, overall I'm very pleased with how this turned out. As you can see, you've got the casing going round and coming to the front. I did make the drawstrings out of the fabric. I thought, well, I'll make them up, and if I don't like them, I can always get some sort of tie going on, some separate tie. I managed to put the buttons on. No problems with the buttonholes. My machine behaved itself. They came out pretty good. I put 5 on as they suggested, but I sort of used my own discretion of where to put them. I always put the first one between the busts, so that I don't have any gaping, and then generally one above, one below, and then work my way from there. I used these lovely pigeon wish buttons that kind of had all the colours that were going on. There we go. Had all the buttons that were had all the colours that were going on in the fabrics. That was great. I used rainbow overlocking, because generally I just thought, well, unless I use white, none of the colours are going to match anyway. So I thought, well, I'll have a bit of fun, and I'll just do that. The So this is the width of the hem of the bottom of the trousers, and it doesn't look too bad, but for me that's quite wide and, you know, quite swishy. They were lovely to walk about in. It was just something very different for me. So if I just measure that across, yeah, so there to there is 12 inches. So for me, that's quite a lot. I think when I made the, I think when I've made wide leg trousers before, I've always reduced them to 10 inches, which is sort of would be here to here, and to me that's a good width for me. Again, you could hack this completely, as long as you know, did it equally from the hip down. You could bring them in at either seam and make them less wide. So again, that's an easy fix and very customable. Get my words out. So yeah, that would be another idea of how to make it fit for you. And obviously you've got the short version as well, which for holidays would be, you know, a really good little pattern to be walking about and wearing, because, you know, it's a good pattern for the heat, I would say. I did use the rainbow overlocker thread, and my finished seams aren't as neat as they might have been. So what I found was when I took the project to make up at the social, I had a bit of an issue with my overlocker. It was just not trimming the seams. It was actually sort of tearing them up and getting jammed and just making a right mess. And I just thought, I can't take the chance of it chewing up half of my pattern when I'm making it. So I thought, well, if I snip or, you know, use my rotary cutter to take some edge off and then just line it up, I can just put a row of overlocking on, and I'll take a look at that later. Since then I've made some other things and not used the blade, and I've tinkered about with it, and I don't know whether the blade slipped and is in the wrong position, not tight enough, but reading through my manual, it said, you know, it should cut thread and things like that, even if it doesn't cut the fabric. So I took the plunge and I ordered a new blade. I got a new blade from Sew Essential. I got it from them last time, and it's just this little attachment here. But actually, my last one was, I think, October last year, so 9 months. I wouldn't have thought I've done enough sewing to dull the blade that much. But yeah, it's kind of, that's what you want. You want to be able to trim that seam and get a nice clean finish with your overlocking thread. So I'm going to try that later and put that on. Hopefully that'll cure the, you know, the chewing up of the fabric, because that's no fun, is it? So what's your take on following patterns? Do you follow the steps through as you go, or do you pre-read through and think, well, yeah, I can do that later, or I'm going to do it in this order, or whatnot? Go a bit rogue. I do go a bit rogue if it's a pattern I've made time and time again, because you kind of know the lay of the land and what you can and cannot get away with to get the correct finish. But yeah, I definitely made life a bit more difficult by leaving the binding to the end, in terms of like, rolling fabric around in my you know, in my what I was gonna say wash machine, in my sewing machine. Yeah, just manipulating it a bit. But I was too busy gossiping and chatting, and I didn't want to have to concentrate too hard. So I had a good look while I was at the social on the de-stash table. If there was anything that might take my fancy, that I could use. There was some fabric there. A lovely friend offered me the borrow of a pattern that she'd been using, which is this one here. She'd been making up some of these items for, I think, friends' babies recently, and they just look fantastic. And so she's offered it to me to borrow. And I'm thinking, originally I was going to make a romper, but actually, looking at it, I'd quite like to make a little shirt for the little guy. And it goes up to 18 to 24 months. I think what I might do is I might make the shirt up and just do a fit on him. You know, it'd be nanny grabbed, and we'll go from there. But I quite like the idea of making him a little shirt, because I have got some fabrics that would make nice little tops for him, and I haven't got a pattern to suit that at the moment. There was this lovely whale print fabric, cotton, it's a cotton, on the D-stash. There's quite a lot of it there actually, but I thought actually if I make him a little, make him up a little shirt in this, one, it'll be super sweet, get the whales out there, and I can do a fit check and go from there. And yeah, that'll be a pattern that my lovely friends lent me and fabric that I haven't bought, so it doesn't count as buying fabric. On the same note of feeling wholesome, and you know, I haven't been buying any fabric, I decided to sew up the work in progress project bags that I had recently cut out from de-stash fabrics and remnants that I'd making outfits for the little guys. The first one that I made was this one here, this lovely dinosaur print on it with the really bright footprints. Just a Tabitha tee from the Mini Makes book that, you know, I've previously shown you. Yeah, I just added an inch on because he's quite svelte, so that'll give a bit of longevity. And this will probably be kept at Nanny and Grandad's. It'll be a spare set at Nanny and Grandad's, you know, to put on when he gets mucky and things. So yeah, had a little cute dinosaur label, again from the Specky Seamstress from a while ago, and I used the ringer cuff, and then I top stitched with a contrast orange, which I thought would pick up the footprints. So that was the top, and then I thought, well, make a little pair of bottoms as well, and so I've made him these with the pockets, and this is the Brindille and Twig modern joggers, which if I show you here, as you can see, you can make it either hemmed or with a cuff, and you can also add contrasting or matching knee patches, which I have done in the past, and back pockets and things like that. I've made it quite a few times for him, and it's kind of a good shape for him. So yeah, so he's now got pockets to put his cars and stones and whatnot in, and the cuffs. And then you've got the elastic waistband and another one of the dino labels. So we've got a nice little matching set there for one. And then the second set, I thought, why complicate things? Roll it out again, the Mini Makes Tabitha. It will be quite nice in the autumn to make him some long sleeved hoodies and things like that. But while the weather's still warm, I think it's best just to stick to, you know, what he's wearing and what's comfy to run around in. So this is a de-stash fabric that I got from the Finally Sewing social with these fantastic bright lightning bolts on it. And yeah, I made a Tabitha tee, exactly the same idea, same size. As luck would have it, the orange contrast thread matches beautifully here as well, so I was managed to churn them out. And another Specky Seamstress label, cute as a button. And so the bottoms for these, because it's a bit more lighter weight than the dinosaur one, and the dinosaur one is that was a remnant from a Tabitha tee for myself that I had made when I went to the cinema with my daughter to see the new Jurassic Park movie. I just thought, yeah, I know it's stupid, but I thought, well, I'm just gonna do it. So I wore my dinosaur t-shirt to the cinema. So yeah, so this fabric is much more lighter weight, so I thought I won't make bottoms, I'll just do some shorts for him. And the pattern I used for the shorts was the Ikatee, I'm not quite sure how to say it, New York pants and New York trousers and shorts. And if I show you the line drawings, I can't really see what I'm looking at there, but yeah, so you've got long trousers with either a classic waistband or a paper bag waistband. Go, let me read it out. Comfortable shape, the elasticated waist, four waistband options: classic paper bag, classic with a knotted band, paper bag with a knotted band, and then you've got no pockets, slash pockets, patch pockets, kangaroo pockets, and then you've got elasticated hem, classic hem, and elasticated with ruffles. So it gives you quite a lot of iterations there, so you can get quite a few different looks, and it's either a woven or a knit. So this little pattern gives you bang for your buck. And it goes from 1 month up to 4 years. So again, that's really good value. So yeah, so I made the New York shorts with the elasticated waist, the little slash pockets, and the turned up hem. And I just think they are super cute. So he's got lightning bolt bottoms. So the lightning bolt set will probably go home with him, and we'll keep the dinosaur ones here. And again, matching Specky Seamstress, cute as a button label. Yes, I was super happy with those. So that's the items I got completed and sewn up. So I had the jumpsuit, which is quite an involved make, took quite a bit of concentration, but super pleased with the results. And then my 2 sets of nannies make, the boys, which I thought looked really good. And yeah, they're kind of a quick win really. Once you've got them cut out, you know, you can just whiz them up. So that was really, I was really pleased with those. And obviously that got the Beyond the Pink Door fabric sewn up, which is winner winner chicken dinner, for the subscription fabric coming in, getting sewn and in my wardrobe. And then not buying any fabrics to make the little guys outfits. So that was one from the de-stash table, one was from remnants. So I've bashed or smashed my stash and got those remnants used up. And I've also cut out the Ardens in the Rainbow Fabrics blue denim, which I've just recently shown you. And I think there might be enough on left over from those for remnant for a future little guys make, probably the New York trousers, and they will go into the cooler weather. So first off, I saw this lovely bias binding from Specky Seamstress with the bees on it, and I thought I have to have that. So I had that come through, and then I looked through at her labels, and I also ordered these little iconic labels, which I thought were quite sweet. Yeah, they're cute little iconic labels. So they've come in. And then fabric wise, I have bought a little bit of fabric. I bought a little bit, but in my defense, it was a cracking sale. I ordered this gorgeous, look at the blue, See You at 6 linen viscose from Stitch and Stash. They had a really good sale. Had their newsletter come through, and I think it was like 40% off till the end of July. And you know, you could have bought over and over and over again, but I love the See You at 6 linen viscose. It's really good quality, and it's got a good feel to it. It sews up lovely, and it gives you sort of the drape that you want. And when I saw this in the blue, I thought, yeah, I'm going to have that. This will stay in my stash now till next summer, but I ordered 3 meters, and usually it's £16 a meter. I ended up getting 3 meters, and instead of the £16 a meter with the discount, it was £9.60. So I thought that was a really good opportunity to get some quality fabric there, that I will definitely use for next year. It's just really nice. I just love that colour. It's called Niagara Blue. Yeah, so I'm super happy with that. And then the other fabric I got was from Rainbow Fabric. They do a fair amount of drops per week even, and so I try not to look too much. You could be buying fabric here, there and never, so I try not to go too mad, because they do a lot of drops. But the only thing is, if there's a really good fabric on there and you miss it, generally it will go, and that's it. Obviously they do dead stock fabrics, so once it's gone, but they do have high volume, a high turnover of, you know, new drops and things like that. So the one that I got come through is this one, which is again a blue, but this time a navy blue with these pink florals on there. And I don't know if you can see, if I put it up close, kind of looks a little, it's sort of mimicking embroidered, and it's actually a Crafty Pie brand fabric. And that was Brogan, who was in the Sewing Bee UK TV show a few series ago, and she's brought out her own fabric ranges. And yeah, I really like the look of this one, and I thought it would make a nice top possibly. But I bought 2 meters, and actually it's quite substantial. I thought it might have been a lighter weight. It's 50% cotton and 50% viscose, so I guess that cotton content gives you that bit more structure. But yeah, see, it definitely holds its shape. So not quite as viscosy as I thought it might be, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be fantastic. I should imagine it's going to be gorgeous to sew. Show you that. Yeah, I love that colour. those pops of colour, pinks on the navy blue. I'm a bit of a sucker for a navy blue, as you might know. I've got quite a few fabrics in my stash with a navy blue background. But yeah, you know what you like and you like what you know. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to be, but I still feel that I'm quite virtuous because I only ordered that one from Rainbow Fabrics. And to be honest, I could have filled my basket, but I was good and I only got the one. That Crafty Pie fabric I've seen on other sites for £13 a metre, and with the discounts and codes and things on Rainbow Fabrics, I actually picked it up for £8 a metre, so I think that I've done quite well there. And yeah, it feels like really good quality, so yeah, it will definitely do a good turn. Ahead, it's now August, which is just cray. So yeah, what are my plans going ahead? So going ahead next week, I am just going to have a look around and see if there's any sewing that I would like to do. As I say, I'd like to sew up the quick sew pattern, the little shirt for the littlest, and go from there. And also anything else that I've had lying about that I've had plans for that I might start thinking about sewing up. It's kind of the way, isn't it? You either have 101 plans, or you suddenly have a what do I sew next moment. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. Are your plans for sewing up items still pretty long, or are you in a bit of a quandary of where to go next? Sometimes it's a fabric that comes through, isn't it, that it completely jumps to the top, and other times it's just things that are on the back burner that suddenly come forward. So I'll be back soon to share with you everything that I've been up to in my sewing world, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video and you can give me a thumbs up, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.